You are listening to the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And now, LuchaCentral.com presents Masks, Mats, and Mayhem.
I can all write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Welcome to another edition of Masks, Mats, and Mayhem. I'm your host, the Outlaw, Justin Harvey. You can find me on social media at JustinHarvey75. You can, in fact, find the entire show on social media at MMMShow75. Byron, hi.
Hello.
I've said that 199 times now. 199 times I've said, welcome to another edition of. Should I change it? Should I get rid of it?
At least one more time for old time's sake.
Great. Welcome. All right. So that guy downstairs, that's at Byron Fever.
Catch it.
Don't catch it. It's very contagious.
Wear
that guy over there, that is at Tony Allen. What's the ST stand for?
It stands for STD. No, I'm kidding. No, it does not.
Tony ST. No, just the ST period.
ST period Allen. Yes. At Tony ST Allen. There is a guy called Woody Allen. So what Rock Stony Allen.
I thought you were related to Darby Allen.
No, and he's with an I think, right? So
like Gigi Allen.
Yeah.
I think Gigi Allen was only one L.
Or I'm related to Barry Allen because I'm like quick. And I hope my speed surprises you to all the ladies out there. No, I'm kidding.
That guy down there, diagonally down, doing this. At Meefloaf, not to be confused with Meatloaf. That's Meefloaf.
Apparently that was copyrighted. Which is, you can also find me on OnlyFans. It's Meefloaf for foot pics if you need.
Okay, that's good to know. See, you learn something new every day here at the MMM show. Rebecca, how are you doing? Brent, how are you doing? How good was that main event tonight? Byron?
I couldn't really watch it. I was setting
Who
up,
watched it?
so I'll watch it again later. But it was a clean finish. They saved the whole Takeshita Okada thing until after the match.
So they made my boy lose. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, but he's working with 1.5 arms. You know?
Okay, but this is what I said to Byron before. Did we not think that he was going to lose? I mean, this was basically an exhibition match, right?
Yes.
I thought there was going to be a schmoz at the end.
I thought it might be a little schmozzy, but either way, I wasn't.
But yeah,
I couldn't really get super excited about. I know it's going to be a good match, but I couldn't really get super excited just because I felt like the outcome was more predetermined than most predetermined stuff in wrestling.
Was there a lot of build to it as well?
Yes,
they've been doing programs together as tag teams.
They've been in a program, so I would say that there is anticipation for these guys locking up. I'll give Byron at least that. But Byron, I just want to know if you were happy. Were you happy, Byron?
I mean, I did
because you were the only one that said you were hyped for this.
I'll watch it tomorrow when I have time.
Hey, Greg DeMarco liked the promo for the show tonight. So Greg DeMarco used to do all of our audio uploads for the audio version of this show on Lucha Central Podcast Network, but we haven't really done the audio version in a while. Let us know in the comments if you want us to bring back the audio version or if you like coming over here to YouTube and watching the video. Byron?
Yeah, to be fair, it's a hard choice between Byron's voice and face.
Right. I will say Byron's looking youthful this week. He's looking mid-50s.
Oh, did I lower the resolution?
All the human sacrifices.
I think that it was the eyes last week that were not helping Byron.
I was really tired last week.
Yes,
I'll be really tired tomorrow because I have to finish working after this. But
Jesus.
No, but I was happy that they did an actual finish and then saved the storyline stuff until afterwards. And also I was interested in the big Takeshita Okada storyline and what the next step of that was going to be, and that's not predicated upon the match or matches. It's you're seeing every single episode of Dynamite or AEW. The next step in how Okada and Takeshita are getting along or not getting along. And I was interested in seeing where that was going to go. It's interesting. They both have belts. The IWGP is a big thing. Okada has a lot of history where that belt came from. I'm sure they would love to have, New Japan would love to have Okada back. I don't know if he wants to go back. I don't know. There's a lot of questions. Also, Okada has a belt, but is it comparable to another company's world belt? So are they going to do title versus title? And if they do that, do they take the two titles that got turned into one and merge that with another one and then make 5 more? I don't know. It's a lot of stuff. I'm interested in seeing how it turns out. And also it's old generation, if you could say that about Okada, versus, the new generation.
Okay, well, I will definitely say that I liked what they did in the pay-per-view. I didn't have a problem with anything they did tonight. It was definitely entertaining. I just wasn't hyped for it, which was what the question Byron asked me in our private chat earlier. He asked if I was, you said hyped, right? That was the word? Hyped?
I was hyped for it.
Byron may or may not be
did a
too many
cool
hours of a TV show he makes.
Yeah,
they did a cool poster for it. They do posters, or I guess they do posters or artwork for the big matches,
and look,
which is about as much as they promote for them. But it's so cool.
Are they posters if you don't get to buy them? Because that was one of my complaints when we were in Mexico City, that they had the program, right? And then it was like, oh my god, I really want one of those, and they don't actually print them.
Well, I think you could buy it on PWTs like 2 weeks afterwards.
Meefloaf just lost it here.
No, because honestly, WWE I can literally run downstairs and get a WWE program from 1990. Well, whenever Owen Hart died, I can get you.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I saw him like a couple months before he died.
Why would you get
but
that?
I've got a program.
That
No,
one.
but I've got a program. Yeah, but literally, it's a case of they came here. They were, I think, 30 or 40 quid for a program.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah,
I will
people
pay
buy
for
it.
it.
That's how much they
because-
are here. They're $50 here now.
I think, WWE, it's not even a matter of opinion. It's just a much more well-run, larger company. So they have stuff planned out in advance. They have things you have to do in advance. So if you have the big match and you're
Like
going
get
to have a
wrestling
poster
rings.
for
But
it,
is it?
they're
I've got a
going to-
topic later that may dispute that.
I mean,
and we can have that debate. Byron, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Let's get into our first big topic. Let's go back to this weekend. Let's go back to this AEW pay-per-view, one of the last real pay-per-view models in the world where you actually pay per viewing. Though apparently now if you have HBO Max, you pay a little bit less than everybody else pays. You get a special
it's like
price,
$10 less.
which is great because you're already paying $10 more for having HBO Max. So it's really
You get a brother.
So it's a subsidy.
right. Yes, it's subsidized pay-per-viewing.
I wish our cell phones were subsidized still. Remember, it used to be like $100 for a new cell phone. One of those like little Nokia things. You press a button 5 times and it's a letter C when you're texting.
Yeah, T9 texting is what that was called, Byron.
Now they're
because you're using texting on 9 numbers. T9 texting.
Yeah. I'm just reminiscing back to when you could get a cell phone for $100. Now they charge you $1,000.
Yeah.
Isn't that something about the world we live in today?
That is something. Is that an also, Byron?
It is. We said we were going to...
I did not end also. I used other words.
It was a simile for an also.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to come in hot. I'm coming in hot. AEW is too violent. I'm not even asking the question. I was going to ask you guys the question. Is AEW too violent? No. I'm stating for a fact, my opinion at this point in time, that main event match at the pay-per-view was a step too much. And this is coming from a guy who liked DCW. I like deathmatch stuff and whatnot, but also I think we've learned. I think we've evolved as wrestling fans. I think personally, I feel like we're a little past it. I want to know you guys' opinions, but I don't like it. I didn't. It was It didn't feel good to me, and it's because I liked those kind of matches. It's because I was a fan of this type of stuff in the past. But we know stuff now. We know what works, what doesn't work, what's necessary, what's unnecessary. Um, the I'm trying to find this happy medium with wrestling in general right now, where I want it to feel like the old days, where it felt like a competition, even though we knew it wasn't. But where there was competitive things, where people were showing aggression and they were trying to win a fight, quote unquote. But also, I don't need it to look like an actual assault or attempted murder. I just I wanted to feel like a sporting competition between people with violence involved, like boxing or UFC or something of that nature. And even the more brutal pit fight style that can be out there is fine too. But when we get to the point where it's actually attempted murder or a simulation of attempted murder, it is too much for me. It is not okay for me anymore. Maybe it's because I'm older. Maybe it's because I have kids. I don't know. I'm just saying, I thought that match was too much. When you're trying to drown a man on live television, why do we need to simulate this? If I want that, I'll go watch John Wick. I'll go watch an action movie. I don't know why, if we're trying to simulate a sport, what the purpose of attempted murders is. That's my take on it. You guys
can I go first? So
yeah, go for it.
I didn't watch it, so I'll get my thing out of the way for the whole thing.
Oh, this will be really helpful.
No, it will, Byron, because it will actually help you. It's going to help you.
I don't need help with anything.
I know it's hard for you.
Listening to my cat in the litter box is about the same.
It's a bit like why I don't watch modern horror, because modern horror is just them trying to. A lot of them, there are some good ones, whatever, blah, but the Serbian movie, etc., where everything is just designed around being over the top, as seeing how far they can go with things, because they actually have a good idea. It's just gratuitous violence for the point of it, and being, oh my god, we did something shocking that's never been done before, and it's just, well, I don't have to go to specifics of that film, but I don't think they use it well, and the kind of protecting of, and the Bully Ray thing here again. I think in Dreamer, where why would you do 15 table spots in a whole pay-per-view when you've got the main event was a tables match or going to be the big table spot? They just never ever do things psychologically well, basically. So that's me. I'm done.
I don't disagree with those points.
Do you want to go?
Byron, you look upset by this.
Tony, you can go.
Oh, are you sure? Because you look.
Yeah. I got stuff on the webpage I'm looking at right now. It's very.
Okay.
He's doing research. He's doing research for this one, Tony. We're in trouble now.
He's currently watching a Serbian movie after name drop.
I'm watching NXT, so I know what to say later.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. Meefloaf double offended Byron because Byron has also made a horror movie as a director. So now Byron's just really, really butthurt. I love it. Go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Did you say something?
That's fine. That's fine. Go ahead. Go and watch Weapons. That was really good. Anyways, okay. So I guess the whole point, the whole conversation comes because of the fish tank. I think that's what everybody was upset and people were fighting on Twitter about it until today, I think this morning. Anyways, when I saw the fish tank, I literally went, what was the idea? I did not understand the idea. The more I thought about it, the stupider did it become, especially when Darby was flailing his hands back. Nobody was holding him or anything. He was just moving his hands. Like, if you're going to do the drowning on a little bit of water, take Darby to a toilet. That's all I'm saying. Of course, you want to have the visual of the person lowering his face on the, but that was socially easy to break fish tank. Like it could have just been taken apart by like your hands. It made, again, and this is something that I will continue to bring into this podcast. Suspend belief did not happen because it just looks silly. Was it too violent? Yes, you are correct, Justin. It was too violent, even though it was impossible to not possible to drown somebody like that. It was too violent, and not because it was on pay-per-view, but because social media will replicate that a million times. And it's not like before when you had the disclaimer on TV and don't try this at home. Now on TikTok, the video has been seen more times than the pay-per-view itself. So that's why it's too violent, because we don't have any control what happens after the fact of what they created. It's on brand for Moxley, for Darby, and AEW, because if WWE is not violent, then they are violent, and that has to be the difference they're always trying to make. It's their lane, but I think it was silly. I think it was silly. At the end, if you really like, of course, a young mind, as it was put on social media, a young mom might not see that silliness of, not pushing yourself out of the water or whatever. But yeah, I think that's a problem, that it is too violent because of social media, and we have to be aware of that more than anything, I think.
Byron,
I'm actually having to find this video now.
So I have 2 points. One, the point that I don't think is that relevant is that I don't think it was too violent. I watched it. I was expecting something else in addition to the drowning spot. I don't know. I mean, these guys, I think this was as advertised. I think if you're looking at whether or not the attempted drowning was too much, or I don't know, the skewer under the fingernail. I thought that was really cool.
That was where I started to go.
But like the fingernail under
I didn't see that part.
The skewer
He's
under the
digging
fingernail.
one of those wooden skewers
Yeah.
up under the nail and like trying to pop his nail off, and
But
it was
like
very
that's like
Terrifier 4.
Yeah, but that gets you, but that's also 100% safe. The worst case scenario, no one's gonna get hurt, and you can work that anyways. But I thought they had the match that they said they would have. I think in a history of wrestling, you have like Eddie Gilbert hitting Jerry Lawler with a car.
Yeah.
You have Seth Rollins removing Rey Mysterio's fucking eyeball to win a match.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
you
was
have
bad
fireballs.
too.
You have
It
all
was
these
also
things
cheesy
that
as hell, but
That
Yeah.
was very cheesy. I remember that one
that
because
was terrible.
but I
you-
didn't like it.
but you also
like
had
it either.
the Money
He
in the
fell off the
Bank.
roof.
You had the Money in the Bank lockdown match where they finish on top of Titan Tower, and one of the wrestlers legitimately fell over the side of the building. Then you
Also
have Paul
disagreed
Bearer-
with that one at the
Yeah,
time.
Paul Bearer drowning in concrete, and they tried to retcon some stuff storyline wise, but it happens. And then there's all sorts of stuff that happens in death matches, and so I don't think it was too much. I think that you're allowed to have your own opinion of it, and if you don't like that stuff, my main point is you should have known it was happening in this match, in this company, on the show. So don't watch it, or be prepared to turn it off.
Okay, but
Because
let me say
AEW
this. Let me say this.
Why?
So-
Why?
But AEW a couple weeks ago was already saying, "Oh, well, WWE's not doing family pricing, but we are."
Okay.
So you're telling me now that you're the family company, that you're the company that people can still come out and afford to watch and bring the kids and whatnot, and then you're trying to show me some shoot murders.
bring your daughter to the
You can't
slaughter.
have it
Come
both
on.
ways.
AEW, well, first of all, that was Ricochet. So if you want to talk to Ricochet about making sense about anything, you can do that. Okay. But
Darby also made some similar-esque comments on how
Okay. So talk to Darby about how smart he is too, outside of a professional wrestling ring. AEW is offering prices that you can bring everyone to. But if you follow AEW at all, they had, the last show I went to, they had 2 death matches with 4 people involved who are not deathmatch wrestlers. All right.
Coatsy agrees with you.
Yeah.
Byron,
But also,
if you're a traveling product, people will come to see wrestling when it's in the town, and they won't necessarily be watching it every week.
Okay.
People are going to buy tickets and be like, "Oh, let's go watch the wrestling."
Okay, but like you guys are all still wrong, no
Oh,
matter
I
how
have-
many times you interrupt me. Like it's AEW does these matches. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying we know that.
Well, how do
they
you feel
these
about it?
matches.
Like this is an
I
opinion
liked it.
show.
I thought it was good.
Well, that
And I
didn't say
thought
you
it was
liked
great.
it.
I did.
What's so hard? Just say I liked it. I liked it. You guys suck. I liked it.
Yeah,
My first point, that was my first point, was it wasn't much. I liked the match. It was fine to me. But my bigger point is that doesn't matter. We should know that it's happening and that we should make our own decisions. If we don't like it, we don't want our kids to watch it, don't watch the last match on a 15-hour show. They're doing you a favor at that point.
Okay, well, that brings me to the next point. This brings me to the next point. First of all, I am going to say that in regards to the violence thing, I'm still baffled and highly entertained by the Sarah Stock versus Amanda Huber violence against each other on Twitter. I don't exactly know what happened there or if those two have heat, and I think they're both wonderful, first of all. I don't know what was going on there, but if you haven't seen it, go on Twitter and just read this back and forth. Like Sarah said some junk about like kids shouldn't watch this, and then Amanda reminded her of how she got choked out with a belt once, and then Sarah clapped back at that, and then Amanda goes off on this long tirade about how she put her kids to bed and how they didn't watch the match and this, that, and the other thing, and Sarah's just like, okay, that's my whole point. It's like, you didn't want your kids to watch it. I don't want kids to watch it. Mind-blowingly awesome. Like, if you think our debate version is good, please go read that junk on
Put
Twitter.
that on TV. Like that was entertaining. Like that was like, why don't you put this on TV? That was really
Sarah
cute.
Stock also made a really great point when someone said, "Hey, you're defending Vince McMahon, a rapist," and she said, "He didn't rape me. He's a cool guy." It's like,
again, put that on TV. That's a good show. That's
maybe
a good
not the
good
best
stuff.
representation of your argument.
Sarah's very direct. She's another Gail Kim. She's just like, she just says it however she thinks it. And God
if you're trying to sell a product, you don't do something that will negative affect your ability to sell that product, especially when you're selling it to TV. That's all I think.
All right, so
okay. Before we move on,
go ahead.
However, the fish tank, stupid. However, water in the ring, that visual was really great. I actually enjoy the way that water did not move at all in the ring. It just stayed there. So every time that Darby would hit it, the water will just come back to it, right? Because
all the rings have a natural dip in the middle.
Yeah, it was that
part. Just big wood slats there. So yeah.
Visually liked it. Yeah.
I'll tell you this: I literally did not remember who won that match until they reminded me tonight.
It's because you turned it off when Sting showed up.
I didn't turn it off. I didn't even turn it off.
Sting was too violent for you. He was too hardcore.
He broke the fish stand. That was like $25.
It was real glass.
It was real glass, no sugar.
Okay, so I want to wrap up the pay-per-view a little bit, but what was the big takeaway? I will tell you this. For me, I'm gonna big box this. Hey, my big takeaway from AEW TK's Wet WrestleDream cast, whatever the heck that this thing is called, was when you really want your belts to not matter, put them on in the wrong order. Put the main women's belt on before the secondary belt. Put the all violence Sting reappearance match you can't clean up after on after your world championship. It just felt like it really took the main belts down a notch. That was my big takeaway. That was literally my biggest problem. Like, I'm never going to say that the wrestling on an AEW pay-per-view is bad. We all know it is world class. It is top notch. You will never pay for an AEW pay-per-view and be mad at the quality of the actual in-ring performances. You might be mad at the storylines. You might be mad at the outcomes and the booking. You might be mad at some of the dumb, kickouts and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, these people are all world-class athletes, and they are where the best wrestle. I fully give AEW that. My personal opinion, it is where the best actual wrestling is happening. It's actually better than New Japan right now. It's better than what's going on in AAA or CMLL. It's better than what's going on in TNA or WWE. It's the best in-ring stuff. Now, again, some of the stuff in that style I don't like. I really want to get this back to, like, how does this feel more like an actual competition? Like, all the kickouts and the no-sell spots don't do it for me. Unnecessary high spot. I like a good high spot, but unnecessary high spots or 5 or 6 really high spots in one match, a little much for me. Like if Darby, I like the Claudio throwing Darby onto the table thing. I thought that was great. That was a great high spot. Do we need 4 coffin drops after that onto other randomly hard objects? Probably not. That's just my opinion. But my takeaway was still like Mercedes feels like a bigger champ than Statlander right now. Moxley feels like they're still treating him like the champ when Hangman is the actual champ. They're treating Darby like the challenger to the championship that Moxley doesn't even have. It feels off to me. It feels fishy. And walking away from a 13-match pay-per-view and undercard, I just felt like some of these other stars got overshadowed. Even your ultimate Joshi match with Tekla and Jamie, like this big thing that should have felt special, got ruined because they did an overrun from the pre-show into the pay-per-view, including full pyro in the middle of a match. I just didn't understand the layout and the landscape of what this pay-per-view was trying to do. I'm just confused. All right, somebody tell me something about it.
Okay, I'll go. So I think this is all where we talk about the the wrestling slop that I was telling you. It's like even today it was like how many 7 people fighting each other, like wrestling each other. It was a lot. I think the only one that survived that, and I had to go back and start watching it from the beginning. It was the Brodito and was it Okada and Takeshita? Was that what? I think that was the only match that stood out for me. That is the only one that I remember fully, and I actually went back to watch it. So I think that was the only one, and I think in that
it's a great match. That was a great.
It was a great match, but also I don't think that it diluted the championships either, because I think it was like right before everybody was like, "Oh, this is way too much," or the previous match was better or had more meaning. Or I guess because they didn't put the ROH tag team titles, so I don't know what they could have done to diminish it. But I thought that was the only out of the whole. It was like a job. You had to be there for 8 hours, and it was insane. And I think that was the only match that I actually enjoy watching. And yeah, it does have my boy, Bandito there, but I thought that was the only thing. I cannot remember anything that made any sense or that built onto something. It just felt like the pay-per-view was there because it was a date on the calendar, and they already had that name in there. And the worst part, probably, I think of all, is that it did run, unopposed. It was time for you to get all that, or I don't know, maybe that's why they just didn't have that fighting on them, right? Because they knew that people were going to watch it. So, but at the same time, you could have done something significant to cement your position as the rival company, because you did knock that out of the park, I think, the last time, right? So yeah, missed opportunity there on my that's what I think on my end.
Byron, you want to make this point that you're making in the chat?
No, that was months ago. I want us to stick up for the pay-per-view. I think there's certain things that were just done okay, like the match orders that you brought up. I thought you actually brought up the reasons they were in that order. Like the last hardcore match was more or less a lights out match, and they were ruining the ring, so you put that last. And you're not sacrificing too much.
Then why not just say that? Make it an actual lights out match.
I don't know why they didn't call it a lights out or whatever, but the Samoa Joe Hangman match pretty obviously was like the first step and the first major step in the program. So you're not really losing too much. They're going to keep going, and that's going to build and get bigger. So fine. But with the women's stuff, they told a pretty clear story with Stat and Mercedes with those 2 matches that necessitated Stat having the first match, and then Mercedes getting what up on her after that. And then after the Mercedes match,
okay, but seriously, are you telling me
Stat stands tall at the end of the whole thing?
I get that part, but you're telling me she's not the B side to this story now, that you're making your big belt the B side?
No, they're doing a program between the two of them, and Mercedes already. I mean, even Tony is a bigger star than Stat. They have to build her up more. So that's what they did. They had her standing tall at the end over Mercedes. Did it work? Did it make her look better or bigger? I don't know. I don't know. I still think she's finding her way. I'm not 100% on the Statlander train as champ, but that's why they did it, and that's what you got to try to do. And then they just continue the storyline between them tonight. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying Statlander is going to look like a bigger star than Mercedes Moné, but that's what they were trying to do.
I thought they did a good job tonight.
Yeah, the puppet thing and the cake thing was kind of cool, and bringing.
Look, I mean, we've said it a million times. Harley Cameron is a national treasure. She's hilarious, and he's so funny. And that totally worked. It got Stat over. Stat also, again, Mercedes is the ring general and fixed the botch on the first slam through the table with the table not breaking. She turns around, looks right at Stat, and like, slam me again. Let's go. And
yeah,
Spot came out perfect. Mercedes played it serious, but for comedy, which you gotta love. And then Mercedes is knocked down a peg to the point where she's now considering teaming with Athena in the tag tournament for an extra belt, which I think also helps Stat's cause. And they did a much better job with it tonight. They did. Yeah. They did a much better job.
You could also tell the aura between them. One of them, like you said, is the ring general, and Mercedes was making sure things are done right.
Well, Mercedes I don't not the piece of shit that people want her to be. She is actually really genuinely trying to get these girls over. You may or may not like her style of doing it. You may or may not think she's too egotistical doing it, but don't doubt that in her heart, in her mind's eye, she really believes in trying to get the younger girls in this division over. So she's going to do her best in whatever style she thinks is appropriate, but she's going to do her best to try to get Stat over.
Yeah, I do think though Stat has a way to go. Meef, but like at the end of that whole segment though,
hold on, we gotta make Meef big. He's gonna talk.
I just want to say, like, to finish the thing. At the end of the whole segment, Stat didn't stand tall like she was a champ with Mercedes down in the foreground. She started to wipe the cake off with something, and she also does a horrible Monet dance. Like she should have like stood there and held the belt up and just been almost like a statue. It looks cheesy, but it works. Like and stood over.
Wait. You're saying you didn't like Stat making Harley Cameron lick frosting off of her?
That part was cool.
Okay, just checking. Just checking to make sure you're okay.
Be very clear about that.
All right, let's let Meef talk.
Well, let's go back to one of the points that you made, Justin. Was that AEW is where the best wrestling happens. We've just spent half an hour talking about how it's bad wrestling because it's not suspending belief. I think you can be physically good at wrestling, but it doesn't mean it's where the best wrestling's happening, because the storylines are unbelievable. The action in the ring is unbelievable. You are not doing the whole dance how it was, well, I say created, but I'm not saying everything has to stay the same and blah, blah, blah. But you actually, the whole product is around the trick. If the magic trick isn't happening, if the connection emotionally, things just happen. AEW is just a product. It's like going to watch an indie show. It's just great. They've got a good match, but there is no substance beyond that, which means it's not good wrestling. It's not where the best wrestling happens or where the best wrestle. Actually, no, where the best wrestle could be correct, because they are very good athletes and very good wrestlers. But are they doing the best wrestling product? Even though WWE is shit, I will say 1,000%, and I will not defend the fucking storylines in WWE.
Do you even like wrestling?
At this point, no.
Okay, great. Good answer.
I'm waiting for someone to do something else.
At this point, it's been like half a decade at least. I just want to make a point that it's very difficult to have a serious conversation about whether or not wrestling is believable enough if you're watching a wrestling program with Lucha Libre on it. I love lucha libre. It's one of my favorite wrestling styles. If you've ever seen a lucha arm drag, you know it's the dumbest thing in the whole world. You do a bunch of flips, you hold someone's hand, and you fall down, and then they go and do a forward roll. It's stupid, but it looks really cool, and you have fun watching it. So, like,
That's not Lucha Underground.
it's one of like 1,000 different types of lucha arm drags.
There we go. It's not the standard.
But it's awesome.
Generated. I don't even know what happened, Tony.
I don't know. Do we have other subjects to talk about?
Oh yeah, we're getting there.
Byron calls it a tilt-a-wheel backbreaker.
All right.
Side. I'm old school WCW. It's all sidewalk slam.
It's Kevadora.
Sidewalk slam. I'm with you. Sidewalk. It's totally a sidewalk slam. All right. So let's get into a couple hot takes here. Let's. Oh, I love it. I feel it. I want to talk about tag team wrestling for a minute, because here is an area where I definitely feel like AEW is getting it more right than WWE. Tag team wrestling in WWE. Let's look. What just happened? AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, because they're a long-time tag team with lots of chemistry, are now the tag team champions. I liked them beating JD and Finn or whatever. And JD and Finn somehow, even though they are good friends with a lot of chemistry, didn't really feel like much of a tag team either, because they're in a big faction. But I find it really odd that WWE, even without Vince, is still doing this makeshift tag team thing, and not just doing it, but making them champions, and quickly. We all know it's to get Dragon Lee over a little bit, and he's going to get the AJ rub, and that's great. And it's also a good way to keep AJ in storylines after a big thing with Cena. I get it. I'm not saying that it's not effective, but is it respectful to the tag team division? Is it respectful to the art of tag team wrestling? These guys don't have combo moves together. They don't have like some great chemistry. Like, we're just waiting on the hot tag, and we're going to build Dragon Lee up a little bit. That's all we're doing here in WWE. Yet over in AEW, you've got a couple guys like Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight that were just thrown together, but all of a sudden Jet Speed is a dope tag team. They are doing real tag team wrestling. They have matching uniforms now. It's like something
And the
over
Acclaimed.
there. Something over there clicks, and they take tag team wrestling a little more seriously. And when they put people in the division, even if they are kind of putting them together, they make them gel as a real tag team. And I don't know if this is coming from the back, the front, or how or why this is happening, but even Brodito is working, and they're doing real tag team moves together, and it does not feel thrown together. They have a little bit of a history together. They have a little bit of a connection, but they're making it work, and they're taking them seriously in tag teams. They're taking them seriously as individuals. And for some reason over in WWE, the tag teams just, ever since Vince, just don't get the love. Vince's whole thing back in the day was, why am I paying 4 guys when I could pay 2 guys to do the same damn thing? You know, and he just always hated the tag team divisions and never gave them the respect that they deserve. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. My take is that AEW is clearly making me feel something for tag teams. I actually have connections to them. I actually care about them going into the matches. And it might be some of AEW's best storylines going is some of the stuff in the tag team division. Though I don't know about the Young Bucks needing money thing. That's not really doing it for me.
That whole Young Buck money thing makes sense until you remember they still get a paycheck for showing up to work.
Like, their contracts
And
didn't go
merch.
down all of a sudden.
And merch. Yeah. Like, okay, they lost their expense card. Oh, that sucks for them. Oh, they only have $32 in their account. Okay, that takes you out. You know,
but I did say last week that I wish that Jet Speed was getting a piece of the money match action, and they did this week. So maybe somebody was listening.
Yeah, but I hate that fucking. Don't do the money thing. Stop it. Fuck me, man. Like,
or lower the money.
Oh, yeah,
well, they did. It's
reasonable.
$400,000 now. It's not $500,000
less.
It's
no.
3 teams, or no, it's an 8-man, and it's for $400,000.
Oh, it's a collision.
instead of.
It hasn't happened. Well, maybe it happened right now.
Well, Tony brought up a great point a week or two ago. Like, these money matches are for a dollar amount that's more than some of their contracts for the year.
That takes you out immediately.
It's just like,
immediately
okay, well,
because I know if I go
yeah.
to 7-Eleven, I know how much a Coca-Cola is gonna cost. So that makes no sense that these guys are gonna get paid for a full year check on one match that is not even on a pay-per-view. It's on Collision. 45 people are gonna watch that shit. Come on, man.
Yeah, and then also to Justin's point,
Sorry.
when we were talking about budgets and money in TV shows and all that stuff, and you look at how much it costs to do AEW, maybe a Dynamite taping, and you look at how much Tony's throwing at one match, like, why would you do
Doesn't make sense.
80, 90, 100% of the entire night's budget for one match?
Yes, we know.
When Tony Khan tells his driver to go get him a Snickers, do you think that Tony Khan knows how much a Snickers costs? He probably peels him off like $2,000 and says, "Bring me back a Snickers." He doesn't know. He doesn't have a concept of money. He's been a billionaire since birth.
Yeah.
I like
He
the
has
guy.
a he lives on a
nice
yacht
guy,
that's
but
the
at the
size
same
of Rhode
time,
Island.
his concepts of money are not what our concepts of money are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, that kind of tracks immediately.
Yeah.
To your point of why it's working a lot better in AEW and than WWE, it is in the DNA though. The Young Bucks, this idea of coming from Japan, all that stuff. The names are even better. What is the name of Mike Bailey's and Jet
Jet
Lag?
Speed.
Jet
Jet
Speed.
Speed.
Jet
And
Lag.
it came totally organically, like on the second or third week they were together.
I mean, even Brodito is not supposed to make sense because that's not even a word. But however, I like it a lot. And you know what? Do you know how they actually built the backstory? They did that on the interviews in the post shows. That's what's crazy. So that means that we were watching and then it leaked back into the show. So that is, I think, the magic that is happening in the tag team division, that we actually care. And these guys, like I said in the previous segment, we have segments. In the previous conversation, that was the best match, I think. So if out of everything, that one match that is a tag team match is the one that we remember, or that at least I think is the best one, that's why it's working. And in WWE, it does feel thrown together, and you can immediately smell that they are just trying to push one guy and he's getting the rub, because that's the way they've been doing it forever. They have not changed that formula. They have not changed that idea that this is just to make this guy a little bit bigger. And we can smell it immediately. And that's just conditioning, I think.
Yeah. I think, I mean, creative is unreliable in all wrestling companies. But when AEW is doing it on purpose, the tag team, the multi-man matches are what makes them special, because, like you said, the Young Bucks probably can produce better tag matches or multi-man matches than anyone else in the industry, and maybe they're tied for the top, but if the Young Bucks have a match, it's going to be fun. You can have critiques, but maybe you don't like the storyline. Jurassic Express, their match with them, I thought was a lot of fun, but I'm also trying to figure out what's going on with Jurassic Express. That's part of the fun with them for me right now, because a lot of what they're doing doesn't make sense to me. So I'm thinking there's going to be
He's
more
a
to
fucking
it.
dinosaur. How is anything gonna make sense?
But Jack, like, just the way he's acting, I really think, yeah, the dinosaur guy. No, we don't need to. He's doing a good for him. He's doing a good job. I'm very happy he's healthy. But
You
like,
think he'll ever
Jack,
give us residuals for naming him Luchasaurus?
No, I think the best.
And
thing we'll
by
do is,
us, I mean collectively the believers in the temple. I mean, we all started chanting Undertaker
We gave it to
and
him.
Luchasaurus at him. It was
Yeah,
somebody.
and
Was it
then
Jimmy? Did Jimmy give him that name?
we all chanted it, and then on the podcast, I brought up how he needs to learn how to choke slam with his left hand as well when he does the double choke slams, and then he did, and now he's great, doing great.
I like the
think
Spanish.
He
I like
used
the
to listen
Spanish.
to the podcast.
I like the Spanish version a lot better. It's Luchasaurio.
Luchasaurio.
No, that's not the
better.
Spanish version that we used to hear.
No, what was it?
I'm not gonna say.
Puto.
No,
No, it
you
was-
cannot say that. That's it. We're
It was something else. It was something else. But yeah, just the tag matches are what makes AEW special, I think. more than anything else. So I agree with you, and I think that's why they do better. That's why their programs are better. It's still not perfect. Like, you have the tags, you have the 6-mans. You're probably
Tag team
gonna do
matches
one.
are good. 25 on 25. Fuck that.
Yeah.
That's just too much.
Me, if you got anything to say about this one? Yes, point taken.
His internet went down.
No, it didn't.
Oh, Meef's internal servers froze. Trying to.
I listened to Byron for 5 minutes.
All right.
I would agree with that, but El Juggalo, don't you feel like in JCW it's more appropriate than on a family show like AEW? And that's more my point. Again, I've been to death matches. I love that shit if it's done right, and I think there's an art to death matches. But also, when I'm looking at the headlining match of an AEW pay-per-view, that's not where I want to see that. I'd rather see, talented juggalos doing stuff like that. I'd rather see guys in, XPW and ECW and places like that, that CZW that are, built for it and do it the right way and give it the respect and time it deserves. I don't want to see Moxley and Darby do it. I just don't. That's just me.
I just don't ever see one Moxley wrestle ever again.
What was his name before Luchasaurus? His name was Vibora.
They also
and no one knew that because it was horrible.
It was a bad name. No one ever called him that. They cut his head off on the show, so it's also weird that he's still wrestling. But
yeah,
continuity.
Well, they changed the mask because they're one of the 27 owners of Lucha Underground said something about him wearing the actual Luchasaurus mask that he stole.
They changed the mask. The reason he couldn't do half the moves in a left-handed chokeslams is because the mask they gave him made him blind. He had no depth perception or something.
They had a few issues with things like this between him and Pindar and the reptilian people over there at Lucha Underground had some issues.
Let's talk about Nightclaw. That mask.
I wish Nightclaw stayed for more than 5 minutes on the show.
Just so you could have that mask?
No, he was cool. I have one of his masks.
All right. Let me get into the next thing here. Okay, so when we came on the air last week, we all had some information about Andrade, but it wasn't time to share it because it was still unclear as to what was what. And at the end of the day, didn't really matter because the big story that ended up happening wasn't any of that. The big story, he was Judas before when he was in WWE, and then he got to play himself, Austin Madelson, on Big Brother, and then he came to Lucha Underground as Luchasaurus. Or as
Hold on, I got breaking news. Kota Ibushi has been left to his own devices, which is always a bad thing. He is now Instagramming pictures of his oxycodone pain medication pill bottle.
So that's Kota Ibushi's retiring.
Okay,
he'll come back because it takes 2 years to recover and get in shape. Well, I think he's going to come back because in 2 years he's going to forget he broke his leg anyway.
Probably true. Yes, Austin Madelson was briefly in WWE. Yeah. Was he on a Tough Enough or something? What the hell did he do?
He was development.
He was developmental. Yeah. He was over there in NXT or whatever it was at the time, some performance center level talent.
He hated Casey because Casey said he sucked on the old podcast, and that's why Casey won't come on the show anymore because he's scared of the dinosaur.
Yeah,
the dinosaur man.
And Madelson's probably going to kill him one of these days. Let's be fair about it. All right. So the thing that came out of this whole Andrade nightmare, and again, it's not funny, but things being not funny never stopped us from making a joke because we're not good people. We're probably going to hell.
Byron's terrible. Right. I did make a joke about MOD, and I just made him joke and getting an addiction as a difference. Come on.
I just was pointing out that he's getting goofy headed and doing.
I'm just saying things. I don't understand why that Oxycontin is still fucking allowed to be sold, but then
that is another. That is.
Hilarious.
I don't know. When I broke my shoulder,
money.
It was really good for one day, and then I stopped because I hated it.
Okay,
after
yeah,
that.
I have a story about that. So I
Hogan.
got really sick when I was in Cancun with my family. I had like a very bad allergic reaction that led into a whole bunch of problems that I got. And the doctor, of course, they immediately gave me. It was not oxy. It was Mexican oxy. So it was like.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So
I bought some somas in Mexico once. Half of them worked.
so what? Some what?
Somas.
No. Well,
It was
anyways,
a long time ago.
I took one. The doctor told me take one so you can take the plane because the pain will be unbearable once you're in the air because it was something in my ears and it was already bad. So I did, and when we're like flying, it's like a 3-hour flight. We were flying. I turned to my girlfriend. And I was like in bliss, and I was like, as soon as we land, you throw away the fucking pills because this shit is too good. Yeah, that's not a good medication.
Some of them are ridiculous. I mean, like I took Vicodins for a week once when I got a broken jaw, and I thought I was turning into a murderer on those things.
Yeah,
I got off.
no,
I can't believe how many Brett Favre's done in his lifetime.
We have codeine over here, and you have to stop taking it after like 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all the same sort of morphine family tree.
Yeah, it's no
but the
pitch.
Should I read this into the record? Casey
Yes.
smells like moldy lint and
Yeah.
has licked way too many windows, according to Comatose.
That's the nicest way to put it.
Okay.
But like
I mean,
oxycodone is like if you took half a day's worth of Vicodin and put it in a time release pill. But you could easily bypass the time release if you chop it up.
First of all, you love Oxy because that's what I had to take the 1 year that you won the birthday competition. Anyway. All right.
I just
so let's talk about Andrade. Let's talk about this thing because so the way everything went down is super weird. He debuts on AEW, then all of a sudden
it's called Tramadol. I just remember.
Tramadol.
Oh yeah, Tramadol. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Yeah. Paula's dad was on that, and basically, like, I'll tell you a great story afterwards. Yeah.
yeah. Let's talk about it.
So this whole crazy thing happens with Andrade. He gets fired from WWE with cause. And it sounds like from people I've heard from that there was decent cause there. It was not like the end of the universe, but like he messed up a little bit and then didn't follow up and didn't do some things that some people wanted him to do. And they were like, yeah, man, I think it's time for you to go somewhere else. But it wasn't like the end of the universe. It wasn't like, he slapped somebody in the back office or something crazy. It was like he messed up on his own. They called him out on it. And they were like, and he didn't fix it the way they wanted to see it fixed. So they were like, yeah, brother, we're just going to part ways with you. They weren't doing a whole heck of a lot with him anyway. And so he shows up on AEW, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, breaks. WWE sends a cease and desist letter like, you can't use that guy. Even though people at WWE were under the impression that he could go wherever he wanted. People at AEW were under the impression he could go wherever he wanted. And then it turns up some of the dirt sheets dug up some dirt and got a hold of several of the actual contracts. And they're not hard. I've seen a few wrestlers' contracts and whatnot. I've never read this particular clause, but apparently it's in all of the new contracts and several of the old ones that if you are fired with cause, there is a 1-year non-compete. Not 90 days, not 30 days. It says basically that if we fire you and we have a reason to fire you, and believe me, there is a myriad of reasons they could come up with firing you with cause that are not even that extreme. You cannot earn a living in wrestling, sports entertainment, boxing, mixed martial arts, or any competitive fisticuffs of any kind. You can't do power slap, any of that shit. What the ever living fuck? And then through the course of the following week, Samantha Irving releases a "Yay, I've been out for 1 year" post, and then says, I can't wait till my 2nd year of no compete is up so I can go back to work. And here we've all been thinking that she just didn't like announcing. She just didn't want to be involved with wrestling. She really wanted to sing. She flat out said that that's not the case.
She cannot
She
do
got
it.
iced.
Wait, we don't use that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Worse than
Come on.
We have to retire that terminology these days.
That's over now.
She got murked.
There you go.
Yeah, Rebecca, we didn't know it was that bad either. Like, so throughout the course of the week, like, we just thought originally was like, okay, Andrade, you're a bonehead, but oh my God, TK still gave you a job, which was amazing because honestly, it sounded like Andrade should have probably just chilled for a couple of weeks and got his shit together. But whatever, TK thinks he's got his shit together. He got some homies over at AEW. I'm not mad at the dude. If you can get work, get work. And this whole thing is just amazing to me. And my whole take, and the boys already know this, is somebody has to fight this. But there are so many problems with fighting it. First of all, there's no way you're going to fight it successfully in under a year, at which point in time, the clause will be up. But it's also ridiculous. There's not a lawyer on the planet that is saying, who has seen anything about the story, that is saying anything other than the fact that a judge and a jury would almost immediately get rid of this thing and say that it was not legal. Go ahead, Meef. Talk.
I was just going to say, it might not. You might not be able to fight it under a year, but if you win, you definitely get paid for the fucking year that you've just not got paid for. So I mean, and maybe several tens of millions on top of that.
Which is very possible. So recently, a lawsuit against the UFC was won, and it was what, $360 million or something by Frank Shamrock and a bunch of those guys that feel like they got iced out. I'm sorry, feel like they got murked out of UFC back in the heyday. But I mean, that case is like 13 or 14 years old. It took them that long to win it, and they didn't work for a decade, and they couldn't get work, and it hurt their careers and whatnot. But and it was like Randy Couture, who was over the hill at the time and already got paid, so he didn't really care. But then, like the other guys in that lawsuit, it hurt them. But now they're they're each getting like $20-30 million. So I guess waiting the 10 years might have been worth it. But
aren't we skipping over the part that? What's her name? Samantha? Is that her name?
Yeah, Samantha.
Samantha, was she fired with cause? Or why does she have?
She wanted out. She wanted out early. Yeah.
She quit. She wasn't fired with cause. She actually quit, I believe, technically.
So she did it to herself.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor was gone, and she kind of wanted out, and she always wanted to be a wrestler or a performer of some other kind there. I don't think she disliked the announcing thing, but I think it got to the point where it was like,
but she's not getting paid right now.
She doesn't
know.
She's also fine. She's doing music stuff.
Yes, we get
well,
that.
I mean, it's like, don't forget,
but
Trevor also
still.
went over to AEW and immediately got paid 3 times what he was making in WWE.
Yeah, but still, that's your.
So his one salary is now triple, which is better than her having her salary and him having his WWE salary. It's double of what they were both getting together and triple of what he was getting by himself. Like it's a no-brainer. Just don't work, baby. Go make a record. Like
he's probably paying for the whole record too.
She probably paid for it herself.
I'm sure she does other things on the side as well that make her money. I'm not saying anything solicit that.
I mean, good for her. She gets to do what she wanted to do. So good for her that she's not completely murked into not doing anything at all.
Frozen out. There you go. That's the phrase.
Frozen out.
Frozen out.
Thank you, frozen out. Yeah, that's what we're using from now on.
Okay. Let it snow. Let it snow.
I've got a 4-year-old, Justin. Just remember that. That's
But I
not
mean,
meant.
but
I know what you're dealing with, my friend.
this is no surprise here at all with the clauses that are borderline illegal, which I think they're illegal completely in this case, right? Like there is no, but this is how.
No, I will tell you why they're not illegal. Because they were put
fucked.
into a contract, they were lawfully entered into the agreement, and there is no precedence yet legally to debate the clause in this circumstance. Literally, all someone has to do is take it to court one time and establish precedence, and then every court in the world will throw this out every single time. But wrestlers don't have a freaking union. Wrestlers don't fight these cases because they don't have the lawyers. Tony Khan could fight it, but then guess what would happen if he tried to put something like this in one of his contracts? It doesn't necessarily behoove him to fight it.
We all know several wrestlers who fought something very similar to this. One of them may or may not have just signed the contract.
Well, exactly, and he just no. Let's call it what it is. It's Santos. He got out of his Lucha Underground contract. So did Thunder Rosa and Swerve and one other person. There was like four or five.
Isn't that a precedent? Isn't that the kind of same lawsuit then? Because they did get out of it
in California law.
But they didn't get out of a non-compete. They of after employment. They got out of
We're still in the contract of the company
during employment. Which also goes to prove how easy it would be to get out of one that came after employment.
Yeah.
Like 5 Lucha Underground stars got out of one that was keeping them from working while they were there.
But the Lucha Underground contract was signed for not specific years, because obviously that's the hilarious thing about this contract. It was specific seasons, so therefore they had it's not a time frame, but it's some form of, whereas WG's contracts are rolling out there.
And even that was ridiculous too. If you look at any television contract, when was the last time you heard, Jennifer Aniston can't go and do a movie in between seasons of Friends because she's under contract to Friends? Like, come on, that doesn't happen for any actor.
Wait, isn't that the Eric Stoltz? What's his name? Michael J. Fox story that he couldn't do family, whatever.
It was scheduling. He was,
but that
trying
was a
to
scheduling issue. So those contracts do state that when we are in filming season, we have the first right of refusal. You have to come to us first, and we can say if you can go. And that makes perfect sense. But they work this stuff out all the time.
Yeah, I think they still will do the no compete or don't do anything else, like the Dos Equis guy, the most interesting man in the world. Yeah. He couldn't do anything else, but they paid for that.
They paid him all year long, every year for the full year to be the most interesting man in the world. It was his full-time job. Yeah. And so I get that, and that's fine. With a 52-week year show, okay, you shouldn't be allowed to go somewhere else and do your character or your bit on some other show at the same time when you're on a show that's on 52 weeks a year. I get that. Lucha Underground wasn't. That's why those people got out of it.
I will say,
and
I understand
it wasn't even a set off season. They weren't telling people when they were going to work with less than a month and a half advance notice. It was bullshit.
Because the thing is with wrestling and WWE and everything like that, it's just weekly anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you go somewhere else. I find it very strange. Like, at least with television, you can turn around and say, at the minute you are actually on TV, something you've pre-taped, and therefore it's going to be weird if you went from, because I know there was a thing with NCIS lady, she went to like a kind of rival-ish show, and like you can understand okay, that's a bit of a thing, but like with wrestling, it's like, it's
why are still wrestling second-class citizens, second-class performers?
Because they won't band together because they're all in business for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's their loss. Yeah,
it would take literally no time at all if the wrestlers, if a few wrestlers went to SAG and said, "Hey, we don't feel like we're getting treated fairly by our employers. We're on television 2 hours a week, 52 weeks of the year, which is 17 times more than any other actor on television other than late night talk or whatever. Like, hey, could you help us out?" They would help wrestlers unionize in maybe 3 or 4 weeks tops. Well, they would flip every one of those shows and they would be considered union actors or at least stunt people because they're actually both. And there's no way that they wouldn't have a union if enough of them got together and said, we want a union. That's all that they have to do.
At this point, with the weakening of the SAG-AFTRA, I think they have to reach either side will have to reach because they need, because they're doing this like vertical content and stuff. So I think that is going to happen eventually, or rather sooner than later, because that is the only way that they can keep growing as a union, because they need to it will be like what 500 new members, I think, active in the United States.
That's just the AEW roster alone, right?
That's just
definitely.
That's just the Don Callis family.
It's weird for me, from my point of view. It's weird that this even happens because in Mexico, we have, the federal workers law, and that covers a lot of these things. Like, it doesn't happen here. You can work at a company and work on another company unless it has to do with national security or trade secret, right? Like, say you cannot work at Coca-Cola and Pepsi. That would be, but you can work at Didi and work at what's it called, at Uber Eats. Like, that you can do that, right? So it is very strange that we are always like criticized because we are not the first world country and all that stuff, but our laws protect workers a lot more in that sense, especially if you're making $100,000 a year. Like, you're immediately protected, so that you keep bringing that economy in here. To me, it's baffling that something like that still exists. I think we got rid of that in the 60s or like 40s. I don't know.
Is this racist what Comatose is saying?
Tony Tequila sounds like he's pro. Yeah, it is a little.
He's Australian. It's natural.
He's Aussie. He's an Aussie though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care. I will do the Shui on the 200 episode, which I hope is not next week, because I don't know if I'm gonna be here. But
I believe that the 200th episode, I think we're actually going to end up being off next week. I think the 200th episode is now going to push to November. Sadly, I'm looking at it. So keep posted to our socials, and you'll see when the big 200th episode is. But I'm trying to get a couple guests, and my own schedule is screwed next week, and Tony's schedule is screwed, and I don't know if Byron and Meef want to do it by themselves. But anyway,
we need to be Drago by ourselves. We didn't need your bitch ass for anything.
No,
I did have to. It's okay, because I'll be drinking Australian lager, so it'll take no effect whatsoever.
That was an incredible bit.
All right, look, so we got into the business of it. So let me get into this one last little topic really quickly here. The Warner Brothers Discovery thing.
yes, let's talk about that.
Warner Brothers is on the chopping block. I've been saying this for quite a while. There's a reason why they didn't take that initial Paramount offer. Warner Brothers really wanted to break up into two pieces first. They wanted to send all of Warner Studios, HBO Max, and DC, like the film and streaming property, to one company. And they basically kind of wanted to keep that, what it sounds like. David Zaslav wanted to keep that for himself and turn it into a new Netflix. He can't really do that with the overhead of running TV and this legacy media stuff, which is funny because that's where David Zaslav came from. He came from Discovery. He was the head of Discovery, who was doing so well in cable television, but they read the writing on the wall. They knew they needed to merge. They knew that cable television is starting to die. They saw the writing on the wall early. They started doing Discovery Plus. They started streaming. They wanted to get all that stuff into HBO Max, sell this content. Their television studios doing decent. Movie studios, maybe not so much. They've had some hits, but they've also had everything that DC has released. So it's a weird situation. I personally, being a television producer, have probably worked in a roundabout way for Discovery or Warner Discovery for probably about 80% of what I've done. I've done some Netflix and Roku and History Channel, some people who are actually not owned by Warner Discovery, but I've also worked for Discovery Channel, HGTV, Food Network, Cooking Channel, Travel Channel, all owned by Discovery. TNT also. Like, I've worked for 15 different networks, majority of my career, that are all owned by Discovery now, and Warner Brothers Discovery. So they're this huge company. AEW airs on Warner products. AEW would not exist if it weren't for Warner Brothers, just like WCW, and Ted Turner was in bed with them back in the day. And so this is where this all came from. They wanted wrestling back. They're the ones that paid Tony all the money. People get it twisted all the time. They think that the ratings matter. They don't. Ratings don't mean anything. Ratings are just a marker of how many people are watching this show so that we can figure out what we can charge advertisers. If your ratings don't really equate to your ad dollars, which currently at AEW, they don't, then you're not really in trouble. Now, if the ratings keep going down, you can sort of find yourself in trouble. But since the dawn of AEW, Warner Brothers has been more than happy because the rates that they got right off the bat were higher than expected and have stayed higher than expected. The second part of this, Coach did an interview with the guy from USA Networks a couple days ago, and they were talking about some of the finance of wrestling product on television. And the guy from USA, who's the president of USA Networks, stated flat out, like, hey, when we do an original show, or if TNT does an original show, it costs anywhere between $2 to $4 million an episode. Okay. And then a reality show costs anywhere from, $80,000 or $90,000 up to $3 million an episode. Okay. And very, very few are on the $80,000 side these days. Most of them are running, your average reality show runs about $600K an episode, which is crazy, but that's what these cable companies are paying now. Not necessarily like the Discovery shit that I do, but like on a USA or TNT, their reality shows. They get wrestling shows for $400 to $700 for WWE and $200 to $600 or something like that for AEW shows. And they run 2 hours, and they get triple the ratings of most of these scripted drama shows. Okay? Wrestling is not in the conversation. When Warner Brothers Discovery gets sold, the wrestling product will be fine. There will be a whole lot of other shows that are in jeopardy. There will be a whole lot of other shakeups, but that will be easy money for whoever buys it. Everyone keeps saying AEW is going to die. Casey keeps saying it all the time. It's not going to die, guys. It just simply doesn't make sense. Cheap product. WCW back in the day did not make Turner money. They couldn't sell ads back then. The prestige factor of wrestling was so low. It did not matter that the ratings were quadruple of everything else on television. They couldn't sell the ads. But Warner Brothers has not had any issue selling AEW advertising. And live sports products of any kind right now are a hot commodity. You watch when TNA renegotiates their next contract, it's going to be gangbusters. They're going to make money, and they might give Tony a run for his money immediately. I feel bad. We said this last week. I feel bad for Billy Corgan because he renegotiated at the wrong friggin' time and got a crap deal because he would probably be able to get more money right now. Wrestling is in a renaissance because the money is there. People want wrestling on TV. So Warner Brothers Discovery being sold could be an issue for AEW, but most likely not. However, if you look at how Fox has always been or was with WWE, they were not hands off. They had very specific desires. We want this star. We want them in this kind of storyline. We want these people. Can we get them over here? And it wasn't necessarily contractual, but they were a pain in Vince's ass for a while. They wanted certain things, and this is part of the brand split and part of why they had to do this over here and this over here to keep USA and Fox from both kicking their asses. And they made it possible for TKO to do what they're doing now, which is to have 5 different media companies that they're in bed with, between Disney, ESPN, Peacock, Universal and USA and Fox and
what a mess.
CW.
The company isn't the media contract. Every specific individual show is a whole new media rights contract. That was genius.
But they're also getting away with murder in the cross promotion within their own brand. They are allowed to do that. And because Netflix is the global partner, they push Netflix on all the other shows all the time because globally the product is always being seen on Netflix, which is genius. So I'll let you guys chime in a little bit about this, but I think it's very interesting because I think what the real difference maker could be is if somebody else buys Warner Brothers, depending on which property they buy, AEW is also in the middle of both the products. And like I said, Warner Brothers is trying to separate HBO Max, Warner Brothers Studios, and DC into one separate thing and television into another. AEW has a deal on both sides. They're on HBO Max right now, and they're on linear television. So the real question is who buys it, who gets what part of AEW, and what they want to do with it. And do they see more for AEW than the current management does? Because that's also possible. It could actually be a very good thing. Hit me, Tony.
Oh, okay. Well, I may not be a big city TV producer. However, What I think is that regardless of whatever things go, especially what happened with like MTV that just deleted all your channels, which is like a possibility. Why would you have TNT and TBS if they kind of run the same programming? Whoever, yes, I will do the Shui on the 200 episode. I think that whatever happens, I don't know how much time is gonna lapse between now and when WBD gets sold and stops being WBD, and now it's gonna be WB now, whatever. It's gonna be back to Warner and Discovery or whatever. How is that gonna happen? I think that AEW has to get another contract in another network for an hour of the show, whatever you want to call it. You can bring back dark, whatever. You just have to get that so that you know that you have that other alternative, that you have that outlet. And of course, you're going to have to throw everything at that new one because you want to make sure that it survives whatever it happens. You don't want to be in a position when somebody new or somebody different that does not understand that it is cheap and it's easy and it creates you know fish tank television, that is gonna come and just with a paper be like, well, they don't use paper anymore, but just I'll control delete or whatever their contract and their positioning, because it will disappear. There is no other outlet. It is not like all these companies that have survived in a minimal state of production, like let's say TNA, that it went smaller and smaller and smaller, and now is racing back again. I don't think they have that maneuverability to move around that simple, because it is huge. It regardless of the way we think, AEW, it is a big company. It's a company that goes to Australia. It's a company that goes to United Kingdom, goes to Mexico, goes to Canada. It is a lot of money that needs to keep going like that. So I think that right now it will be in the interest to actually have a contract with, I don't know, maybe Fox, bring back AEW Shockwave, whatever that was called, that got put on ice. Oh, them, now I'm doing it. See, Jesus,
Gotcha.
that got frozen. Let it go, let it go, ice. Anyways, that got frozen, and now it seems that it might be because of what you mentioned, that the demands on the end of Fox were too big, and or the control was, that's the problem, that you don't want to lose any kind of control, because that's the way the TK works. So I guess that's what it is. And I think that my proposal for Apple to buy Warner is not going to happen, because they just went into bed with Peacock. So now they're working with Peacock, so I think that separates them further for what I want. Come on, guys.
Maybe not, because it also depends on what's going to happen with the library, with the WWE library, and what Peacock has remaining in their apparatus. Because if all that's going to go away, then maybe there's a play for Peacock for AEW or Warner Brothers or something.
And you know what?
And Peacock losing WWE pay-per-views is a big hit to them. Like, I dropped my subscription down. I didn't necessarily drop it. I think I still have it, but I dropped it down, or I got the free version that's included with something else or whatever now, with the ads and all that crap. Like, I was one of those people that came over from network at the $10 rate or whatever the streaming with no ads full thing was. Like, hey, you're putting the WWE stuff there. I never watched your app a day of my life before now. I'll be one of your 2 million new subscribers to come over there and be happy about it. And the second it was gone, I was like, was there really anything else I need on here? Do I need to watch SNL streaming?
Law and Order 27 seasons. Come on, bro. I'm going on 15, I think, right now. I started from 0. Also, to Brent Ross's point, if Netflix buys Warner, they're only going to buy the movie part of it. They're not going to buy the live channels, which is what we're worried about.
And I also don't know if they would get approved. The SEC might
Yeah, probably.
not.
Well, nowadays $10 million, you know.
Just donate $1 million to the
Yeah, just
local
give.
library.
Here
You
you
get to do
go.
whatever you want.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can, yeah. That's not a problem anymore. Yes. So yeah,
I don't think
I
Netflix is interested though. I think they'd rather put some money into Mexico, make their own movies. You
I
know,
told you guys.
Yeah,
they're going to make
what they're
$100
doing.
million movies for $40 million in Mexico. It's going to be great for that economy, and they're going to be good movies.
Move here, guys. Come on, let's make.
I'll
movies
move there in a heartbeat, Tony. I've already planned that. I already started house hunting in Merida, so
Mm.
that was literally my COVID plan. I was going to sell my house and move to Merida.
You'd have to
And
get on
so-
a plane.
Amazon got in bed with Apple. That's what just happened today, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And here's the thing, like all of these companies are trying to figure this out. They're trying to recreate a new cable model as streaming. And everyone has cracked a different part of the formula. Apple has superior product. Nobody watches it. Amazon has huge delivery, but oh no, and I watch it too because the stuff on there is great, but it's like one good show a month. Netflix
by the
is
way-
turning out 17 or 18 new things a week.
What's Amazon Prime like in your country? Because here, you go on Amazon Prime to watch TV, and you have to subscribe to everything.
Correct. That's
It's the
and
worst.
Amazon is doing that
fucking
here too.
fucking-
Like Amazon has some stuff, but it's also a la carte. But then Amazon has a pay model that is kicking everyone else's ass. Where because of Prime, you get certain thing, but then now you have to pay on top of it for video.
Yeah.
And there's still a ton of a la carte purchasing in there. When they're upselling, apparently works better than Hulu's and everyone else's. They upsell more add-on
Hulu's
services
too,
than
though.
anyone else. And
It's super
Thursday
easy.
Night Football has been a huge success for them over there. So Amazon, though they have a crappier service that I think than a ton of people, everyone has it now, and they're making money hand over fist, and they're selling ads better than everyone else. They were the ones that actually cracked the ad model thing of selling ads into streaming stuff better than anyone else had. So again, each of these companies can learn something from someone else in the game. Paramount's got a few cool things in their app, and they were smart when they started including Showtime into their regular TV properties, which made then HBO Max stop just doing HBO and added all the Warner Discovery properties into HBO Max because Paramount had done it first and done it better. But Paramount also has some exclusive titles that they're maximizing better, like Star Trek is behind their paywall. Like the whole Star Trek universe is behind the dang paywall now.
Yeah.
And it brings in loyal fans that you're never going to get rid of, the same way Peacock brought in all the WWE fans.
I only had Paramount because I like the Twilight Zone.
See?
I really like it. I can put it when I go to sleep. The originals, the original, the black and white. Yes. And also, just to go back a little bit, I think that, like you said, that can I pronounce his last name? Zaslav, whatever. Zaslav. Okay, so I think that's one of the biggest problems historically for the Warner Brothers mergers. When Time Warner became a thing, the people that did the magazines stayed in control of the TV broadcasting part and the movies, and then they move into like AT&T and the people that did
AT&T stayed in charge.
So
then AOL.
And then AOL
did the same thing. Yes. And then when Warner Brothers got bought out finally by Discovery, the Discovery guy took over. Yeah.
See, that's been the problem. You never keep the people that knew how to do that other job in place. And that's what is happening right now. Now they're going to have a TV
That's why all the good HBO shows got canceled.
The TV executive, oh man, Raised by Wolves. I will still cry about that.
So good.
Fuck me. Where is Ridley Scott right now? Let's have him on the show. Anyways, I need to know what was the end of it. I don't even care. Anyways, so that's the problem. Now you're gonna have a TV executive that is gonna be running the studio, but you still, if you want to keep DC the studio, you're still gonna have to have the printing part of it because that is where the IP comes from. So who's gonna be running that part, and how is that gonna be like the sole only part that it's, legacy media in a company that only makes now TikToks, I guess, because that's where they're gonna go to. So it just that makes no sense. What I'm saying
And
is,
that's the
hire me,
problem.
Warner
None of
Brothers.
these-
I'll help you.
I don't think any of these companies know what they're doing completely at this point.
No.
Netflix changed the game so thoroughly in such a short period of time that the industry has still been catching up. This happened to the music industry with the creation of the MP3, and it took the music industry a decade to get back. I mean, no one made money for almost a decade.
But they
Even the
overcorrect,
bigwigs.
And now
it's
even worse.
Spotify. Yeah, they overcorrected. Now Spotify is destroying this shit. But
Yes.
and now piracy is back. Piracy is back. Piracy is so back that there are bootlegs, vinyls in Mexico City of live shows that are
Wow.
happening. That's what we're talking about right now. Vinyl bootlegs
That's
of
kind of
live
awesome.
shows. That is
I
super
love that
cool.
idea
I'm
of
gonna
vinyl.
go down
Yeah.
there and I'm gonna get me a couple of them.
That's amazing. Back in the day, it used to be like a cassette. When
Yeah,
I
it
was a
used to be
kid,
like
like
a
came
cassette.
from the booth.
Well, you can go with a really good recorder, or like even jack into the audio system, and then put it on an LP. So
Oh, what used to happen here was the guy who did the sound booth, soundboard, would actually just record the show and then sell them off secretly somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound guys, they're not really trustworthy. Well, so to
no,
wrap
sound
it up,
guys.
I think the moral of the story is this. What's going on with Warner Brothers Discovery and who the heck's going to own it at the end of the day is probably more confusing than trying to figure out who owns the Lucha Underground IP currently.
oh my god, that is insane.
Jesus Christ.
I
Who-
have-
I can
who-
tell you the
whoever
answer
owns
to
it-
that question, but that's an entire episode.
I have a lawyer that can come and talk to us about that.
It's
Well,
amazing.
all I care about is getting the Cuerno headdress out of that vault. That's all that has to happen.
Well, I will tell you this. So here's how the way the prop department works with MGM. They keep everything for 7 years in case the property is going to come back, and then it is destroyed. And
Oh my God.
currently that means that all of the Lucha Underground stuff will be destroyed in spring of 2026.
So what you're saying is I have to get a flight to America.
You
to have a
have
conversation with
months.
Somebody.
I
have
think
to have
it's
a
all
conversation with
slated
someone.
to be a write-off and destroyed by
Oh.
Amazon, who now owns the MGM.
You tell me who I have to email, and I'll email them and very nicely.
Nobody
you're
knows.
gonna have
You could
to do
ask
a-
Eric Van Wagenen, and maybe I can get him on here in a couple weeks, and we'll ask him directly, because I believe he still works over there in some
You're-
capacity.
You're
He
gonna
does
have
owe me
to
one
do-
favor.
You're gonna have to
Oh, he
do
actually-
a Louvre
Yeah.
heist to get that shit.
I mean, there's people who worked on the show that would like those props. You think Thunder Rosa doesn't want the snake throne? You think that Brian Cage doesn't want the gauntlet? Come on, that's the best moment of his entire career. You
He
think
killed
that
a man with that.
Kevin
Who had
Cross
it
doesn't
last?
want a chance to not go to WWE developmental and stay at Lucha Underground for season 3 instead of waiting till season 4 to debut? There's lots of people that want things from Lucha Underground that they're never going to get. All right. Speaking of Lucha Underground, let's do it. Meefloaf.
What?
We decided to take a look back this week at your boy, your homie. What's his name? King
Alex.
Weirdo, King Queerdo.
It's
The guy with the spotty mask.
It's the horn.
The king of perfume sales.
Yes.
Oh, the
Yes.
king of the wonderful,
Escobar.
delightful pastry you can buy.
Last Luchador Standing between Phoenix and King Cuerno. Interesting match because this is the match where he got hurt, right, Byron? Or was it the match? right after this?
This is, I believe this is. I mean, when he fell on the ladder
Right.
to the ground, it made a noise. The noise.
Oh,
hurt.
yes, I
So
did
you
notice
can
that.
only imagine what it felt like for him to hit the ground. But I think this was it. I think this put him out for a long time, and then.
And it really derailed things for him and Lucha
Yeah.
Underground both. I mean, there was a lot of plans for him in the story.
So
and
He was a
mid-season
featured guy
3
for
came
sure.
back?
I think so. He came back and he fought Mil Muertes, and then didn't he get power bombed through like 5 tables
Yes.
as he
You got
came
the
back
gauntlet,
from like
though. Come
back
on.
surgery?
I can get you the bull statue, Gotse, but it will be the MLW version.
Probably
But they did.
as Eric Van Magnum, I think, said, you can buy that bull statue on the
Whoa,
Tijuana
that-
freeway.
That table did not help at all.
Nope. Not
Jesus,
even a
what-
little bit.
What was it made? Oh, Jesus,
From
I'm looking
memory,
at it.
there was
Well, a table isn't
possibly
going to
made out
help
of
the injury happens
straw?
earlier.
It
with
was-
that height. A table, I don't think is going to do.
No,
like
but I mean,
The
like,
toothpaste cinder blocks that Cage always used.
it looked like it's made out of straw and like a dry straw. Like it's
Yeah,
Well, to be fair, Krista Joseph and
Hey.
Eric Van Wagenen both said that they never wanted to have the Japanese announce table situation, even though they did have that situation one time with an unbreakable table. But that was like
ooh, that wouldn't be
their
good.
whole thing was they never wanted to have the unbreakable tables because at the time, if you were watching New Japan, it was like every week somebody was getting like power bombed off the top rope through the announce table, except the announce table wasn't breaking. It was happening on New Japan like every day in that year.
So did he not get up from that at all afterwards, or is? I mean, I'm sure like this is recorded, so I guess it cut, right? Because
Well, they edited it
match.
also.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
edit, yeah.
But I think
I wasn't
that
actually
was-
at this match. Were you at this match, Byron?
no, I don't. No, we were. Oh, I think we were. I know that I could see Casey's stupid legs, his stupid jeans in one of the shots.
Okay.
So like I said,
I think we were there.
from memory, the
Yeah.
injury happens prior to this, which is the crazy thing. It might be a kick.
So he wrestled the match and he was already injured?
We didn't know, and then this happened.
Jesus.
So, because it was his vertebrae in his neck, if I remember correctly. I remember him talking about it in an interview a while back. Because, yeah, I come into his life a few
very
months
welcome.
after this.
So why? How did this lead to you and Santos Escobar, Io del Fantasma,
Well,
whatever we're
Oof,
calling
don't
him
do that
now?
again. Don't.
I can't speak Spanish.
Oh wow, that was horrible.
H's, come on, man, H's. The so I obviously love Kono because, and I had best way to put this is I didn't watch wrestling at this point. Effectively, my friend told me to watch Lucha Underground after the first episode. I then started watching religiously via nefarious means every week. And then King Cuerno was my favorite because of the movement they used to do in the ring. I just loved how he, like, again, the mask, being able to tell a story from underneath a mask is way harder. And then I started to buy masks. I bought a Pentagon first, and then one of our mutual friends, Marco, had offered me some, because I just love the ghost design anyway, of Phantasma's masks. Now I started to buy Phantasma's masks. And then, yeah, that's kind of, but around timing wise, it happened towards the end of his recovery from injury. Because he was doing a lot of stuff in those chambers with the masks. I don't know what it is. I don't do fitness stuff. The stuff that helps you do altitude, is it?
Yeah, those
Breathing, yeah.
oxygen masks or whatever, where you're
Yeah.
breathing like you're at high altitude.
So he was having to do a lot of that
You know?
stuff to try and kind of get himself, because it was, I want to say 8 months. It was a very long time.
It was a really long time.
Because it was, I know there's a bit of a Lucha Underground taping wise, but like it was halfway through season 3, so yeah, definitely near a year.
Yeah, and there was a big gap at one point too, and he still wasn't back, and then he came back halfway through season 3 or so.
So yeah, it was. So that's how we effectively started the fun.
Well, you were feeding his entire family, is what you're saying.
No, I don't think that's a case.
How
of
many
that
masks
family.
did you buy from
In the
him? Or
end?
how many masks did you have total
I-
from any of his incarnations? Santos, Cuerno,
I'm up in the
Phantasma.
mid-20s now.
Wow.
I'm in the mid-20s, but that was varying prices. But and
Well,
there's also ring gear and cage.
what's the average non-friend price for like
Your
a King
collection
Kong?
can
You don't
vote.
do that. You don't. I don't think you
we
put
don't
that
talk
on
about
the air.
money. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
What's the non-friend price? I'm not saying what price did you get it for. What's the normal
It depends because
non-friend
you
price?
got to remember I'm British as well. I bought Pentagon masks at the same price. What they did was this genius thing that Pentagon Effects would do was they charged $250 for a mask. They'd come to the UK and they'd charge £250. And I had this argument with it, which is hilarious because of Flamita. That's an interesting story with Flamita. Where I had to explain once to a luchador how, there's a conversion rate, and like £250 is like $500.
Right.
At the time, it was $450, and there was a big discussion with a wrestler who no longer talked to because they couldn't get their head around the conversion. I was like, you do realize you wanted me to pay 3 times the price.
Like, I'll just go to the bank and get American money and come back, or pesos if you
And I mean,
prefer.
I will say I have handed Phoenix like $1,000 at a wrestling event, and a Bandido.
And by the way, the cat is out of the bag on these prices, Byron, because of Republic of Lucha and the fact that they finally took their whole business from selling out of the trunks of their cars, as Penta and Phoenix used to do on the down low at Lucha Underground when they weren't supposed to a major website and a retail business. Like, I think the cat's out of the bag.
No, but no.
Yeah, but those
no,
prices are mark prices.
The Phantasma ones we don't discuss because
you don't want to ruin what they're trying to make. Like if you say,
I get it, and
if you meet them
there's
at a
mark
show,
prices that
cheaper.
you can't get around their mark prices at
the
end of their AEW run.
That
was it.
It's private sales.
Yeah,
they're doing private sales. Like all their WWE masks are getting sold to people for top dollar.
Well, that's the thing. The demand is so high now that it's almost impossible not to pay the mark price because they can get the mark price no matter what. It's not like Penta and Phoenix couldn't even keep their website stocked for Republic of Lucha for ring worn stuff. Every single thing they wore sold the next week.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's some stories there. I'm not going to
say. I love it. The underground trade. But so basically, somehow during this man's injury is when you guys became close. But then also, like, he came to England and you guys met a few times.
He came to England and unfortunately watched Silver King die.
Damn! That is.
I was about 15 feet away from when that happened, and then obviously
what was the venue where this happened? Because
it wasn't the Royal Albert Hall, which is where Santa used to have it. It was at the Roundhouse, which is in Camden.
my old stopping grounds.
Camden. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'd drop that one in. But like the Roundhouse.
Was that
Electric Ball? Yeah, so it's literally just across.
I'm not kidding. That's the place that I always go to over there.
Yeah, and they always have the best bands. But yeah, that was there. Yeah, and then I've seen him wrestle for Money in the Bank and WWE house show. And whenever he does WWE house shows, for some strange reason, he would always wrestle Cross, which I think was a personal rib.
Chemistry, maybe, I don't know.
Because the Phantasmal rib movie about Cross being my boy. So.
I love that.
Yeah, that's we became friends over buying masks. Me buying masks from him, kind of, and it just happened to. I didn't know it was because I was watching. I wasn't really paying attention to a lot of things. I was watching the show, so I didn't know it was actually going on outside of the show. So, I think I helped out a little bit, or whatever.
I mean, and at the time, there was a lot going on outside of the show. He had things going on down in AAA and the weird contract stuff that we talked about earlier. And that was also the period of time where Phoenix went to the Crash and changed his name and did this, that, and the other thing, and then came back like he was persona non grata at Lucha Underground for a while. And
story about that was hilarious. So when he jumped to the Crash and all that stuff was kicking off, his very next appearance anywhere was in the UK. He jumped to the Crash, I think, on the Sunday, and he was wrestling here on the Friday. And he came over, and I bought. It's possibly the first ever Ray Fenix mask that was sold.
Oh, from when he changed the name to
Yeah.
when he was actually Ray Fenix.
It's possibly the first ever Ray Fenix mask.
Let's just say it is. Let's just say it is.
Because the one that he wore at the Crash was the one that he was selling via Mass Republic, but that was then getting sold at a later date.
But they always have duplicates. They have multiples. Like I tried to Marco to get the masks for the Lucha Brothers on their PWG title win, and they said they sent them to me, but I know I have them, black and gold. They're great. But if you look at the pictures very clearly, like I probably got the ones that were the second one in the set when they ordered for that gear.
Yeah.
So it looks 90% there. Whatever. They're signed. They look cool.
He was so scared with that. It was Fenix. He was like, because the first night, obviously, he got standing ovation and everybody's going wild for him. And he was wrestling at a fairly small one called Southside. They're now part of Rev Pro, I think. But like they were, he was in tears. He wrestled Sammy Callahan the first night, and then the next night he was like, what they do is they do like a matinee. So they'll wrestle, like the company will basically, because they're paid, they'll just get as much as they can out of you. So they'll do like a afternoon show and then an evening show, and like he basically, I spent the entire weekend hugging him whilst he was crying, because he was just, it was like affirming to him that he was gonna be okay, because he was not thinking he was gonna be okay, as far as I could tell from that. And I bought a mask off him straight away. Bought loads of t-shirts, and he was selling he sold out all his t-shirts by the second day, like halfway through the day. He sold all.
And there you go. And some Denny's money.
I mean, it's
money
hard
for some Nando's.
When you're an independent
Oh my God! Don't talk
contractor-
about Nando's, bro. Please.
when you're an independent contractor
love
and
that
a
place.
creative profession, it is kind of hard unless you have a very healthy or unhealthy ego to feel confident in your worth all the time, you know. So I feel that, but like as a fan on the outside during that whole time, I mean, Phoenix and Penta were, you know, the hottest wrestlers, the hottest things going in the industry.
Right, but they were also going against Dorian Roldan at the time.
Yeah.
And Marcella.
And the lawsuits that were getting threatened.
You know, and you look at it now, and it's like all these people are back together now under the WWE umbrella. Who would have ever thought at that point in time that where we're at right now was even remotely possible?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I thought it was
Pentagon on a AAA event is just mental.
I thought it was weird back then on Lucha Underground after Penta won the Lucha Underground title. And then when he goes backstage to the ramp, we're on the bleachers. So I could see on the other side of the bleachers, Dorian was standing there and they fist bumped. I thought that was weird.
I mean, it's like, look, you have your boardroom conflicts with people, but then at the same time, like as people, you know, and it was a little bit the same way with the lawsuit too. It was like those guys, like Eric Van Wagenen was kind of like, oh, this is some bullshit. But at the same time, like there was no hard feelings. It was like, okay, yeah, they won their lawsuit. We'll let them out. It's fine. We get it. Like there was no hard feelings. And those people all stayed on TV. Their bookings didn't get fucked from any of that. I mean, Swerve got downplayed a little bit, but he had other issues because he really, really didn't want to be under that hood.
Yeah, he
wanted to leave. Puma was grumbly about his hood.
Phoenix, though. I will say that.
What's
Phoenix one? The Phoenix one didn't go so well.
No, not at all. At the time.
That got real nasty at points. There was trying to stop him being able to do anything.
And well, honestly, that only got fixed once Conan went back, and Conan was cool with AAA again. Yeah. And then he was able to smooth some of the stuff over for Phoenix later. And then they brought Phoenix back down to start working again on like a per appearance contract and whatever when he was still in TNA or whatever the fuck they were doing then. It was all so weird. But I'm happy that this match somehow led you to hooking up with Cuerno, HDF, whatever, S by Escobar.
That's better. That's
S by Escobar.
But the thing is that new logo is going to look fantastic when I get a maker's mark of it and start putting on bags for him.
Well, he's re-debuting again next week from the information that I have.
Oh,
Monday
is
Night
that this
Raw.
Friday? I thought it was this Friday.
No, Monday.
It's Monday.
Oh,
Raw.
Raw.
on Raw.
Yeah.
Yes. From what I've
Man.
heard.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Has it
I
been
do-
reported yet officially?
It has been reported yesterday.
Okay.
Okay,
Wait,
because
is he gonna
I
be-
do
I heard
want to
last
see it.
He was coming back on Raw next week.
Are they going to
I-
make him champ because Seth is gone?
No.
Because who?
Hmm. Seth.
Yeah. No. Tony had it right. No, Tony had it right in the first place.
I think that he will be in a tag team fighting against Dragon Lee so that there's still some brown on brown
Wait,
crime.
no, the Chiefs are playing at the same time. What? I hate these. I hate Mondays.
I love Monday because it means I still
Fucking
watch it later.
Garfield.
I'm off.
Fucking Garfield.
All right, let's do some pops and drops and get the hell out of here real quick. So
Oh, we're not doing my boy Braun Strowman, Braun whatever, Braun
Braun
Steiner,
Breaker.
Braun whatever, man. I hate that guy.
He's
Really?
the breaker.
I will tell you why. Can we talk about it so that I can tell you why?
talk about it. Make it
It
your
makes
pop or
sense.
drop. How
Braun
about that?
Breaker is
Oh,
the
sure,
breaker
I
of
guess.
hearts. It makes sense that you
Here, I'll give you a big box. Talk about it, Tony.
Well, so that was the only actual thing because I promised last week that I was gonna watch this guy. Remember? You guys
Right.
remember I said that?
Yes.
So he has a title. They're doing the thing with Adam Pearce. His name.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Former NWA champion Adam Pearce, not to be confused with former NWA champion Nick Aldis, who is also a GM at WWE.
so to get a job there, you just have to be a champion.
I know a former NWA champion that could be a GM on a
Ice Cube.
Don't
WWE
start
product.
stuff, please. We're good right now. Thank you.
Camille would be a great GM.
Anyway, so I was talking about Braun.
Ricky was NWA.
Tyrus.
Ricky will make a great
One of
GM.
them.
And so they're doing this thing when he has a title that he took from Seth.
Are you going to tell me it didn't look good on his shoulder, Tony? Come on.
That's not my problem. The guy
Okay,
is
okay.
huge and whatever. The thing is that they want to bring him up to a higher level, right?
Maybe.
And well, that's the point of this. And Adam is like, "Give me the belt because it's not yours and it's vacated, whatever." And he takes a microphone from what's his name?
Heyman.
From Heyman, and his line is, "But what if I don't?" I feel like was such a lackluster delivery and such a like elementary playground threat that you know what I was like, no, this is don't do it right now, at least not right now. He's not there yet. This is not happening, because he should have been like, no, this belt is mine now, it's vacated, and if anybody wants to take it from me, they can see me at Saturday Night Fantastic Lucha WrestleMania thing on NBC. That wouldn't be better than what if I don't? That looks so stupid, man. It's just I felt nothing, and I want to like him because you guys like him. So I want to be part of the. Okay, maybe Meef doesn't like him, but I
Meef doesn't like anything though.
Meef hates wrestling apparently. It didn't work, man. It just didn't work. I don't feel anything. I don't think he should be there. I just don't think so.
Okay.
It's all Heyman. That is making it happen.
That's the thing. I mean, the whole thing's just been tits up, hasn't it? Let's be honest. From the beginning, it's been very lackluster and kind of all over the place, and just no one's been really interested in it because Seth Rollins is a what's the word for it? Giggling little prick. Braun Breaker is basically just a fucking. I can't use the word I'm going to use. That he looks like. He looks like a fraternity brother who's done something that may or may not involve him going to jail.
He could run for office over here.
Yeah, he could definitely be in
president.
President and
Supreme Court justice.
Bronson Reed's a good guy who likes to avalanche, but he's the best thing about the entire thing.
Okay,
But the whole group was terrible, and the whole Seth getting injured thing helped to a degree. But
I will say this about this. The part that I didn't understand was you give Bronson the win over Roman Reigns, who has lost to one other person in like 6 years. Besides, Bronson Reed is the second person he's lost to since he was heel and then face and then WrestleManias and since he was the top guy. You gave Bronson the win. You also let Bronson get last licks on Seth when they sent Seth out. Bronson ended it with the tsunami. Yet, somehow, when we get to this Raw, all we're seeing is Braun doing the spear. We're clearly giving Braun the rub. Braun is the one walking out with the belt. And I'm like, but Jonah is the human kaiju. He did the thing in the splat, and he beat
Okada.
Roman, and he hurt the Seth. Like, why aren't we getting? So here's my question that I walked away with, because I don't completely disagree with you, Tony. The real question to me is, what kind of heat do these boys have? Because they get pulled out of the Battle Royal. They're not even in the Battle Royal. And maybe there's a storyline reason for it, but this is booked pretty fast. You'd think they'd just throw them in there as whatever, something, or one of them. And then even Heyman is kind of putting them in their place, like, hey, guys, yeah, I couldn't get you back in that match. Sorry. But also, I'm Paul fucking Heyman. Like, look at what I've done. Just chill your horse and cool your jets, guys. Like, remember, I'm the Brock Lesnar guy. I'm the CM Punk guy. Like, I'm the ECW guy. I'm the Roman Reigns guy. Like, I picked you guys. Like, you don't need to worry that you're not in this one little match. Like, you know, people get me involved in, like, I got CM Punk his thing at the WrestleMania. Like, I do things here. I'm good. But that's also Paul Heyman now chin checking these guys that he was like cowering like a bitch from a week ago. So what I'm trying to figure out is, do the Brawns have heat backstage? Is this a storyline?
I bet they're the ones.
I
bet Seth earlier in the day of the pay-per-view was hanging out with his boys, and he's like, I think I'm going to do a coast-to-coast headbutt. What do you guys think? And I think they both said, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, bro, do it.
And here we are.
As Arn Anderson used to say, back when they used to let Arn Anderson be a coach at a certain promotion. Okay, so that's your big spot. Is it the finish? What are your chances of getting hurt? Now, do you want to go and talk about that for about 10 minutes and come back and we'll talk about this match again when you guys are actually ready? Hence why Arn doesn't do that job anymore, because nobody wanted to hear that shit, but he's right. Like, it's not the finish. Why are you doing the coast-to-coast thing? That, okay, it's a cool spot, but also you're Seth freaking Rollins.
Yeah.
Do you really need to reinvent yourself again right now to the tune of 8 months on the shelf?
Well, he does need to reinvent himself, because what has he done? Is he the top guy? Is he going to ever become the top guy? They keep pushing him.
Well, regardless of...
he spent 15 years or whatever it is of him being pushed as the top guy, but he never...
it worked for Triple H.
Yeah, well, yeah, Triple H just hung out.
Yeah, but Ricky Starks has got that now, hasn't he? I mean, I wasn't here last week to talk about that.
Well,
Ricky Starks has got his new mission.
Is that your drop? Is that your drop? Here, let me give you my pop of the week, because it applies to this, and Meefloaf is going to fucking hate it.
Oh, God.
My pop of the week is Becky Lynch. It's Becky Lynch.
It's because you're Irish.
No, I am part Irish, but that is not why.
Is it because she actually cut a decent promo for once in her life?
Yes, it is. Not only that, I like the ending to her match. I like the shit that she's been doing with Maxine. I am as shocked as you are that I'm saying this, Meefloaf, because I don't have any desire to like Becky Lynch in any fashion, but I'm telling you, she is my pop of the week. I am feeling it. The promo with Heyman made sense. If
That's
this
fantastic.
guy did your husband dirty, what are you going to say to him? You're going to chin check him and say, when my man gets back, you're in trouble. He's not going to kill you. He's going to make you watch everything you love die. Like, that shit was a fire promo. It felt.
Sorry,
What,
I was going to say there's a point. I can't remember who made it, but I want because I listen to podcasts when I'm working, so I don't concentrate that fully. But someone was saying that what was really doing the head in was how I can't remember her name now. John Moxley's missus,
Renee.
Renee. She like necessarily maybe a bit more now. I think I've started to see, but like she never actually was his wife, but everyone knows she's his wife. And she just sometimes mentions she's his wife, but never actually. She'd
No, and it
interview
doesn't
the
make
guy
any
who's just murdered him
sense.
and be like, "How do you think your match went? Was it a really nice event?" Like,
right. And it's like, make it make sense. And this made perfect sense because it's almost setting Seth up for a babyface return. It was almost a babyface thing that she did, but they put it in the show after she had her match with Maxine, after the other Heyman stuff. Like, as much as you might not like Braun, what I appreciate about what WWE did on Raw was they made it make sense. They made all this shit make sense. In fact, the most nonsensical thing was the AJ and Dragon Lee thing, but that was just fun.
the phenomenal dragons.
But like the ending to the Becky and Maxine match was genius. You got the hometown girl here, and then you feel like you're elevating her, but also the heel is like, yeah, what the fuck are we even doing?
But it also makes sense considering what she did after. So it's almost like she was like, "Oh fuck, I've had fuck enough. Fuck this shit."
Yeah, I've got enough. My husband got put on the shelf. You know, I'm fighting this fucking kid in her hometown, and she's giving me fits because she's actually trying to impress the hometown. Like, it made sense for her to fucking be like, fuck, she just fucks this off.
Yeah.
It made sense. And this is why I have to give her the pop of the week. Like, dear Lord, Becky Lynch is having good matches. She's in storylines that make sense. Her shithead husband is gone for a while. And like, I don't know, maybe this is the man 2.0 and I'm actually caring about Becky.
The thing
Lynch.
is as well with that was her the wording, everything was a bit like, I can never believe her in the ring. And I can generally never believe her when she starts talking because, yeah.
But you believed her in the promo, right?
But yeah, the way she grabbed hold of him and then in and everything, and then the delivery.
Look, even Meefloaf is saying
it's
something
perfect.
good about Becky Lynch. Meefloaf just actually said something good about Becky Lynch. So now you know it had to have been at least partially better than what we normally get.
Meefloaf, are you okay?
Yeah, and I know what Justin's drop is going to be, though. It's going to be a ring gear.
It is. Oh my God. I said this to a friend of mine who's a wrestler. I said, how in the world can Becky Lynch, and I said this to you guys too, I think, right? How in the world can she wear skin tight leather and make it look wrinkly and craggly? What the ever living? Who wears skin tight leather that isn't skin tight?
Like I said, it reminded me of when, like, where I'm from in the UK, what we used to do for Halloween was, because we had no money, you'd get a black bin bag and you'd cut arm holes in it and a neck hole in it, and you'd wear it as a witch on Halloween. That's how you made your Halloween outfits, yeah.
All right, Byron, you got anything? What do you got? Pop and drop wise, you got something for us? Do you need a big box? Does that make me feel like more of a man?
Chainsaw Man's coming out in the theater on Thursday. I'm texting with one of my stepsons about it because he watches the show too. That's a pop. They have a new Pochka, not new. They have a Pochka popcorn bucket thing that I'm excited. Hopefully, I can get a hold of that without paying eBay prices. eBay prices drop. Wrestling related.
Oh yeah, that whole thing.
What the show is about.
Yeah.
Let's be real about what the show is about. It's kind of whatever we talk about.
Penises.
Whatever happened. We went on a whole tangent about pills earlier. And not even like,
did we do that live? Did we do that live?
So I don't know about a pop. Stuff was cool. I'm excited that hopefully Hangman does black hat stuff and burns Samoa Joe's house down or something. But I was thinking about their figures and how they have like the Legacy of Sting 3-pack with the 3 different outfits. Sorry to make Justin furious by bringing up the legend, the icon Sting, but I was thinking they really need to do something like that for Toni Storm, because she, more than anyone in AEW, is doing like big match like characters and looks. I think that'd be cool. Of course, I don't know if Jazzwares is if anyone's going to be making figures for them after
They should do one for
after
Andrade.
next year. Andrade. They should do
Who will
Andrade.
do that?
Like,
WWE or AEW right now?
they should
That's the
do
problem.
Andrade with like a copy of
Well,
every
he has,
single
he has
contract
two
he has
for
every wrestler.
AEW, one for WWE in the middle.
They should do an Andrade that's got like a hole in the box so that like you take the figure home, but then he falls out on the way. So once you get there and you think you got Andrade, he's not actually there.
He
Yeah.
Andrade
But
Pro's lawyer.
I would say a drop that I have, because we've talked about a lot of bigger stuff. So I would say on a smaller detail, in watching the AEW pay-per-view, when you watch all these matches in a row, and each match is a story, so you're telling all these different stories one after the other. I don't know how many matches in a row, but it seemed like every single match that I was watching had the same close 2 count pinfall, but then but it's by the ropes and the wrestler puts their foot on the ropes at the last like 1/10 of a second, and you see that over and over and over again. And then it's reminiscent of like early AEW when every single person capped the promo off by calling someone a bitch, which is like you can't come up with like a creative
Or
promo. You just have to say you're a bitch, and then the other person gets mad and you fight. Like, it's not creative. And when you do it 15 times in a row, it's not creative. And the whole, after you lose a big pay-per-view match, they used to all say, "You made one mistake." The loser would say this: "You didn't kill me." And it's
Yeah.
I think it's someone's actually pinned tweet on their Twitter, which is fucking stupid. But you hear people say that over and over again. It's just this repeated thing. And it's just when you do a show, like we talk about EW needing, possibly benefiting from a creative sort of overseer, whatever the role technically
And
would
they
be
do
called.
have production meetings now, but they don't
Yeah.
typically
But
have it before all of the agents know the layout of all the
Yeah.
matches.
So
So
Like,
they're not getting
someone
together
slapping
and going
Tony.
over all the matches necessarily.
Yeah. We've
Hence why
talked
you
about
get
them
this.
needing it for like story continuity for the company and the overall product. But yeah, it's a well-known thing among veterans who have booked or been on shows their whole careers. You have some sort of continuity, some sort of overall big picture story of the pay-per-view. So if the main event finish goes through a table ringside, the first match doesn't do that too. So don't
Correct.
do the same spot 5 matches in a row. I went to a PWG show and everyone did a Poison Rana every single match. That was cool because it's not supposed to make sense at those shows, but this is supposed to. So that's my job. They like it's and
It's
also
like
be
watching a
Why don't you
TV
smart.
just
show
tell
and do the same
AEW
finish to
to
every episode.
If you're the fourth match that has the same like hope spot, the same like 2.9 pinfall with the same foot that touches the same bottom rope after a big move, notice it and figure it out and don't do it. Like, there's no reason it kept happening. Maybe there's a mistake 2 or 3 times in a row. Don't do it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times.
Yeah, but this is the reason why you have to go over it ahead of time, because
Yeah.
if you're in the back, what are you saying? Oh, some guy on the undercard did my spot and you're the higher guy on the card that you're going to take it out? No, fuck
yeah,
that guy.
that's-
You're going to still do your spot. That's the whole reason why top of the card lays out their match and says, "Hey, we're doing this and this and this tonight." And then the co-main says, "Okay, well, we'll take that one thing off so we don't do the double axe handle off the top rope like you guys did." And then we're all good. And then the next match after that, and then until you get to the curtain jerk, and the curtain jerker's like, "So we're running continentals and doing a clothesline for the finish, I guess, because everybody else took all the shit." And that's the whole thing. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to be. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Also, something in AEW that also happens is finishers aren't protected. So everyone,
Correct.
one person will have a finish,
Yeah.
and then 3 people will use it as like as a regular move, transition move. I mean, the Brainbuster was 5 people.
I'll tell you what I haven't seen in a while that I'm looking for in Panama Sunrise any day now. Because at one point in time, I believe there was like 30 an episode on AEW. I don't know why.
There's still an occasional destroyer. It's much better. The Panama Sunrise I hated because that was one of those dumb setup moves where you go and you stand on the turnbuckle, and then the other person walks up to the spot and then bends over and waits for you to do it.
But we had like Cole was doing it, and Britt was doing it, and Orange Cassidy was doing it, and there was like 4 people all doing them, and Joey Janela or somebody was doing it. It was just like, and Tony was doing it.
The destroyers themselves can be done a little bit better, but and also you can get more creative with a regular destroyer, even though that is completely overdone.
But the off the top of the head destroyer is the most no sold move in AEW now. It's like the most devastating move from WCW circa 1997, and that is now the least sold move in wrestling.
Penta
wants to do something
Penta
amazing.
got to win with one. Penta got to win with one, so
you've got to win. You got to win, did he?
Make it make sense. I like that Byron's drop was telling AEW to make it make sense.
I have another drop. It's a 2-hour podcast.
Oh my god!
When you do this, the one thing is you could do is like set up a spot for the Powerbomb / a Canadian destroyer, right? Go for that, but then make it look like the guy's doing the backdrop, reversal, but then still pull off the destroyer. That would look.
Byron, we've gone so long that my AirPods just died.
Oh, right.
That's my whole point.
Okay.
That's the point of everything
Let me give a shout out to my boys over in St. Louis. They were hooking up the wrestling fans this past week over at Nudo and Miley. My boy Quetran, who's a brilliant chef in St. Louis. So if you're in St. Louis area, go by Nudo, go by Miley. Get your noodle fix, whether it's ramen or pho, whatever you like. He's got you covered. Anybody else have a pop or a drop?
My pop was from last week, which is to say that I love the Australian fans. So there you go. You've had me liking Becky Lynch and saying positive things about Australia.
Comatose, did you hear that? Is Goatsay around? Is anybody from down under around? Meefloaf just said he thought the fans down under were brilliant.
Yeah, because they like the British fans as well. And the fact that they were using the word shit cunt on a.
That was great.
Podcast. Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah.
Oh, I have one more pop.
And also they booed the American anthem, which to me is always amazing.
I have one more pop, and then I have to go.
I have 2 drops quickly.
Byron is the one telling us that he's got to go.
He's got to go.
Okay, Byron, what's your pop that makes it so urgent that you have to leave?
My pop is everyone in the chat and that watch tonight and watches this. Thank you so much for joining us and making this all 100% worth all of the effort that we are doing.
Okay, I like that.
That was nice.
Bye, Byron. No, it was actually sincere. It was actually sincere.
Meef says the most sincere thing he said in like 5 years, and Comatose still doesn't buy it. Much love, but your sarcasm doesn't amuse me, Meef. Thanks.
He still thinks you're criminals, but this week he likes you for it.
All right, Tony gets the big box to finish this thing out. What do you got, Tony?
Well, I don't know if the first one, because this is my originals 2 drops, because I don't have a pop this week, I think.
Okay.
So originally I was gonna say, I don't know if this is gonna extend us even more. However, I think that right now, even though I enjoy a lot of the things happening in the women's division, and you guys know we here are fans of women's wrestling, we are supporters of women's wrestling and promoters of women's wrestling. However, I think that somehow right now the AEW women's division, it's spoiled until the end of the year. We already kind of know what's going to happen, even though if it's not like a linear thing. So for me, it's kind of ruined, at least until War's End. So that's a drop. I think that evidently we already know what's going to happen with Mercedes and the tag titles and Chris Statlander. So that's not going to be fun for the next 2 months, month and a half, whatever. And the second one is wrestlers. This is 2025. You have to be media ready.
This is actually my drop too, Tony. So go for it, brother.
Oh,
You
no.
have to be media trained. For fuck's sakes. You cannot go and take on media raw. They will destroy you. You will get chewed and spit out. Please get media training. I know that is the least of your concerns when you're trying to be a wrestler, but right now, especially if you've been in the business for a while, you have to be media trained, and you have to know what you answer, and you have to build the trust with the media people so that they're on your side. So when something happens, and it will, you have people on your side. And this will continue to happen. And this happens on social media, and this happens on legacy media, and they get destroyed. And we had 2 examples this week that I'm not going to mention because I'm pretty sure you are going to.
Oh,
So,
I'm going to fucking let it go.
Okay, fuck it. That's
Let
you,
it
bro.
go.
Do you?
Let it go.
Do you, bro? But you have to. And it is not because this is what I do for a living, but it is because this is what I do for a living that I know exactly how this works, and I know exactly how to build it right. And I know when I see something that's going to happen, I know already in advance how fucked up and bad it's going to be.
Yes.
So
the car crash coming.
it pisses me off. These people destroy their careers because they don't know how to do a fucking interview or fucking put a tweet out there. And it's
I know
stupid.
it is now.
It is ridiculous. Take it away, my man.
Sexy
I
stuff.
hate to do this, but I have to do this. Former Lucha Underground champion Sexy Star went on Latin Lovers podcast this week and did the exact wrong thing, in my opinion. And I'm pretty founded that it was the wrong thing because I feel like a lot of other people's opinions are sharing this sentiment, and probably more so even than my own. She went on Latin Lovers podcast and basically blamed Rosemary for the incident with Rosemary in AAA. What are we talking, like 5 years ago now?
Oh God, no!
6 years ago?
More, right? Like 8.
It was before the pandemic. Sexy Star has not been working. The girl desperately wants to get back into the business in some fashion. The character's been replaced in AAA already. She hasn't worked a ton in stuff, and she's in great shape. She's ring ready. She's ready to go. She's ready to get back in there. So what would have behooved her would have been to go on a big, giant podcast like Latin Lovers. And if you don't know, Latin Lovers podcast for wrestling in Mexico is the biggest thing in ever. It gets numbers that you would blow your head off. It's Logan Paul-esque numbers in Mexico for Spanish-speaking podcasts. Okay. She goes on there and she basically says that Rosemary spit at her and this, that, and the other thing. And that's the reason why she had to do what she had to do. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot about the story, and I don't think that Sexy Star was completely to blame in that whole situation, except for the part where she tried to pull that girl's arm out of her shoulder. That was not a cross arm bar. That was a actual MMA move. She actually tried to pull her arm out. It was not okay. It was not cool. And I get it. I know what was happening to Sexy Star. She was being railroaded in that match. The other girls were taking liberties with her. Rosemary may have even taken a liberty or two herself. Maybe she got potatoed here and there. That does not give you the right to intentionally try to hurt somebody. And Sexy Star needs to understand this. For her to go on a podcast and say that the other girl deserved it is fucking crazy. It is loco. Why would you do that to your own career? Just say that you're sorry that you beat that girl up the wrong way. You got carried away. Maybe you can say you got carried away because she spit at you or something, but you have to acknowledge that you got carried away. You have to acknowledge that you took it a step too far. It is a media training issue. It is not being media savvy. And so what happens when Sexy Star does this? My DMs start blowing up. I'm telling you, people are like, do you know her? Do you associate with her? You can't associate with her anymore. We got to do something about this girl. Do you know how we tell her? Like, I'm like, first of all, I don't know her like that. I've met her one time in my life. I got friends that are friends with her, but I don't know her. Okay, first of all, so get out my DMs with that shit. Second of all, she's got to take some accountability for this stuff. When will wrestlers learn? Tessa's having so much trouble getting back in because she didn't take accountability the way that people wanted her to take accountability. Sexy Star is no different. And now she might even be worse off than that. You know how many friends Rosemary has? People love her in the business. And there is not a person in the business who is going to say that she deserved what she got down there. And if anybody is saying that, which is Sexy Star at this point, I've never even tried to bail her out a couple times in the interview. And my Spanish isn't great, but you could see what was going on there. And I'm like struggling and I'm like listening to shit like 5 times. And I'm like, oh my God, she did not just say this girl spit on her. That's why she broke her in half. Crazy time to me. Crazy time to me. Sexy, whatever you're doing, girl, if you hear this, just apologize. I'd love to see you get another chance in this business. I'd love to see it, but I'm here to tell you that what you just did on that podcast, you stepped in it, girl. There are people that are heated now. Heated. You were off the radar before. Maybe you weren't getting a lot of work, but now you got people who actively want to see you never work again. You just pissed off everybody in the independents in the United States. You pissed off everybody over at NWA because there's people in the office that are good friends with Rosemary. You certainly pissed off everybody at TNA. AAA can't touch you now, which is also WWE. So unless you're really, really good friends with Tony Khan, please don't come up here planning to work because I don't know where that's going to happen. It's not going to be in the Indies, not going to be TNA, not going to be NWA, maybe MLW, maybe Court can use you. I don't know. It's not going to be in America. And in south of the border, Crash, they're all still really good friends with Conan. Don't know if that's going to happen for you. AAA absolutely out. Maybe CMLL, maybe, some random tours with old-timer luchadors that are retiring. I don't know. I don't know what exactly you thought you were doing with that interview or what you were trying to get out of it, but it ain't going to be much. That's my take on it. You guys are all like,
Yeah, media training is important. That's all I have to say.
It's pretty damn important. So until next time, stay calm and stay in the mix.
Penis.